This is for every man out there who's frustrated with women. You're going to love this. So, I was an incel, an involuntary celibate. Basically, where you want women, but you're not getting them. And I'm going to give you a couple of red pills that are going to blow your mind. So, I had my first time sex with 27 years old. My first kiss with 24 years old. I'm not joking. No joke. So my first kiss with 24, first time sex with 27, and the first time sex wasn't even that which I really wanted. I'm going to talk about this. So let's back off a little bit. I was an introvert, but I was extremely talented, and I had the second largest techno music website in the world. And I wasn't still getting any. I was even doing live techno on, I was going to rave parties and I was doing live. I was on the radio. I had a CD contract and much more. Much more. Things that I mean there's tons of things that I can get into. Maybe we'll do it in this conversation, but I was pretty thin. I was like kind of like I don't know what 55 kilos is, 57 kilos in pounds. I don't know how much that is, but I was thin. High in the pantheon. So I was thin, and that didn't make me really attractive. So I don't remember which birthday it was. It might have been my 24th or my 25th. I don't remember exactly. It might have been my 25th or 26th birthday. I think it might actually it was my 25th, remember. And I was weighing 55 kilos, super thin, and I'm not very tall. So, and at that point, I was like, I really want to lose my virginity, or I really want to have experience with a woman. I'm 37, virgin, okay with it. It's very normal. Society makes us think it's abnormal. Yes, Jamil. By the way, I'm totally up for the surfing in Leland. We can talk about this. So, uh, 27 and at 25, 26, I was kind of sick of it. So to I decided to um work out a lot. Okay? So I went within a month from 55 to 66 kilos, but all muscles. When you're under 30 years old, it's easy. I had a training station outside of my parents' house. I was training like crazy. I I didn't even care what I eat, so I had cheesecake, I had beer, whatever. I was just pumping like crazy every day, and the body really, when you're under 30, it just accepts everything. And I had twice in my life I had six pack, by the way. Twice in my life I had six pack. So there's a lot of things that now, okay, I had a lot of bad luck in another way, but we'll get into that. So in about a month, I went to 66 kilo all muscle. It looked really good. Like I was looking in the mirror, it was six pack, it would look really good. Although I was eating what I wanted, just training. It's interesting. So, and then I was using ICQ. It was like a messenger back in the day. It's like what today's maybe Telegram or something. I don't know. And you could meet like people over ICQ. And I met a girl. She was 31, so she was 4 years older. Four or five, no, actually, wait, 6 years older. I don't remember exactly how I was young. I was around 25-ish. Let's just say that. And because my first kiss was 24, my first sex was with 27, so it must have been somewhere. Actually, it was when I was 24 because that's how I got my first kiss. Now I remember. Or was it like that? Or was I already in Spain? Anyway, it was around 25. It just doesn't matter. Okay, so a long time ago. And then I trained like crazy. I got the 66 kilos. I was jacked. I which 66 kilos is not a lot. I weigh 75 now, but it was like for my height, but it was only muscle, so fantastic. So, and then I went out with this girl that I met over ICQ. She was a Scorpio, matched perfectly energetically in terms of like sexual energy. That was nice. But she was a simple woman. But she was a manager of a very famous restaurant where I was living at. Very very rich people also go there. Anyway, so she was a manager there, which incidentally now if I look at it, I was like, that's the last girl I would pick now. But at that time I was like, I was happy I met someone. So we went for a picnic. It was super romantic, and the date went kind of like normalish. And then at one point in the date in the summer, it was a nice date. So normalish in sense of like normal nice. And then at one point I was like, I would like to kiss you. And she says no. And it was kind of hot, and I also wanted to impress with my new physique. So I at one point I was like, "Do you mind if I undress my shirt?" And she was like, "No." And then I undressed it, and she was like, "Mm." She was like surprised. It was literally super obvious that she was surprised that I'm so well trained. She didn't think of it because I don't, even if I train a lot, now it's different anyway, but even when I trained a lot, it didn't never looked like I trained a lot. Just because I just don't have the stature. And then I I undressed, and she was like, "Ooh," and I noticed that immediately. I mean, yeah, highly sensitive, so I see anything. I literally notice everything. And see, she it didn't take her that long. Maybe 20 minutes later, she came over to me and kissed me. So I was like, yes, fantastic. Okay. So, um, so that was kind of like, okay, that was after my first kiss, which was with a woman in Spain, but there was no sex involved. And then this was kind of like my second kiss, you could say. And but there's no sex yet. So we stayed there kissing for a long time until somebody was in the park, was in the bushes, and was like jerking off to us kissing. And that didn't sit with us so well, so we decided, okay, let's go home. And for me, a train didn't leave anymore for that day. So she was like, I was like, I don't think I can get back. Can I stay at your place or something like that? And she was kind of like hesitant, and then she's like, yeah, you come to my place. And then and this is something super interesting. So I was sitting on her couch, and she had plenty of sex in her life. It was very obvious. And I was sitting on her couch, and she went right, like after a few minutes, she went right on top of me. She like sat down on top of me. She was very hot in terms of like the body. It was good. It was good energy, Scorpio energy. So she was sitting on top of me, and I didn't even expect that because I was at that point, I was still super shy. I was super shy, and I was still super like introvert. Uh and so so she sits on top of me, and then we go to bed, and I don't think I had condoms with me. So what I did is I basically fingered her a long time. And uh once she tried to sit on top of me, I was like, no, without a condom, I don't want to do this. And then I forgot to buy a condom the next time as well. And then she actually bought condoms because she was frustrated from that. But her condoms were way too small that she bought, which is kind of an insult. She bought the smallest condoms, which didn't fit me. So that was funny as well. And then I never actually had sex with this girl, which is bizarre thinking about it now. I never had sex with this girl. Although we were together for a while, for like a few weeks. And then we went to see a friend of hers in a far 6 hour drive away, and that was interesting. And it's interesting. We never spoke about it. She was never like, "Why don't we have sex?" or something. It was weird. I had so many weird stories with women. It's literally like you wouldn't believe. She was older than me, so she could have like asked or something. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, we never had sex. We were just like kissing a lot, stuff like that. And then oh yeah. And then I don't remember what it was, but there was something that she said she just wants to get I remember. One day I visited her again and she was busy on the computer chatting to like hundreds of other guys like at the same time. It was super bizarre. And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And she's like, I'm just enjoying like these guys. Sometimes I go to the cinema with them, whatever." So she was basically fucking other guys and or seeing other guys. It was weird, weird as fuck. And then she confessed to me that she just wanted to get pregnant and she didn't care who it is. Like, and I was sweating. It was like, the fuck, good that I didn't have sex with her. And she told me that while we were driving back from that birthday place. So I came to her place and I really needed to go to the toilet. So I took a shit in her toilet and flushed down. And I leave and I never see her again. I was like the last thing that I left her was like taking a shit in her apartment. I was like, okay. And I never saw her again. And eventually I found out that she found a guy, a loser, absolute loser that she had two children with. And she didn't care basically who it is. And she was definitely a party girl. Uh and she never believed because I was 27 at that point, I believe. No, 24, like I said, 24. The 27 comes later. So I was 24. We never had really sex. We were just kissing and stuff. And and she never believed that she was my first one because I once told her the reason why it was so problematic for me was because she was my first one, but she never believed it. And I don't think she believed it because I was so well trained like at that time. So she thought like all women are like after me and stuff, and the way I was like before, very cocky and stuff. And then with 27, it was like this is how I lost my virginity. With 27, I started a job, working at a job, and I was 6 months into the job, and I had a coworker. She was 47, I was 27, and we got closer and closer. And she was French, and one time we did like a business trip. It was a business trip, and at the business trip, I asked her if she wants a massage in the elevator, and she was like thinking about it for a while, and then and she was thinking about it for a long time, and then before we arrived on our floor, she was like, "Okay, come to me a little bit later," and I massaged her like for an hour or two. She started to get like uh more and more she started to get more and more impatient, and at one point she just turns around and kisses me, and I was like, okay. And I wanted to, but I was super nervous. I was like super nervous. And then she wanted to fuck, and I was like, I don't have a condom because I didn't expect it really. And then in the night I decided, you know what, let's just ignore it. Let's just fuck her without condom. And now thinking about it, with 47 is of course highly unlikely still you get pregnant. But I was thinking about it. I was like, she could have actually gotten pregnant, and that would have been a nice disaster. But we had the best sex ever. I mean, she wasn't my first choice because she was married, but we had the best sex ever, and then we fucked for like a year and a half, pretty almost every day, in like the weirdest situations. So, and we did that for a long time, And so I kind of, that was my first time, and I literally, I don't know, we fucked maybe 100 times or 200 times, I don't remember. So actually for fucked several times in one day. So, and even during lunch hour and stuff like that. So that was nice. Um, but I still was kind of like a rookie, in the sense, like, only after the tantra massages, so many years later, I learned so much more about energies, about women and stuff. But after my having my first time sex, I did I did have I did start to have a lot of experience. Like, I found a lot of women over the internet who pretty quickly came to my place, and we had sex and stuff. And it was, sometimes it was very good, sometimes it was not so good. But it wasn't. It was almost never really bad. But so I had some of those experiences, and I can't. And it was interesting to see how many women that are older immediately go for younger guys. Like, women 40 plus, don't matter if they're married or not, they would just, if they found a young guy attractive and he like hits on her, they would immediately go to my place. It was interesting. And then then before I met my last ex-girlfriend, that we were together 6 months but long distance, I was 5 years single. I was 5 years single and never basically met anyone, and had no sex. And my ex-girlfriend, we saw each other only times, and the thing is, like, she was, in a lot of ways, she was weird. Um and so it didn't really work out. Plus, I think I'm at the point where I really want a woman that falls so much in love with me that she's like, I want to be with you. It's being with you is more important than my studies, than my this or that. But she was like, she preferred to continue her studies and all of that stuff. It's her choice, of course. She does what she wants. And so she basically, it's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons that basically it stopped. But there are many other reasons as well. She was a little bit weird from my test. Like, staying awake at night. I like to sleep during the night and stuff like that. I don't know, whatever. And yeah. So there's been periods of my life where it definitely was an incel. Definitely was an incel for long periods of time, where I wanted intimacy, but or sex, but I never had it. Um, and and I always had the feeling, in some way, I often had the feeling that I am actually, like, I never met the right one. Basically, it was, all of these women were kind of not really in love with me. It was more like, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. Hard to describe, but it wasn't. It was really never the one. Of course not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be single. Yeah. Uh, I don't read anymore. Thank you, Inner Pantheon. But oh, you mean you're talking to Jamil? Ah, you're VP cell, voluntary proud celibate. I didn't know this. Okay. Sex is nothing special. No, I wouldn't say that. I disagree with that. I think sex is something very special. In fact, I love tantra in all its forms, whether it's just massage, coming together, or really then having sleeping with each other. I love it, and for me, it's something very special. Um, yeah, but I'm not talking about ego sex. Ego sex is nothing special. Absolutely, ego sex is nothing special. Tantric sex is, or tantric intimacy is something much better. Oh yeah, and then before I was 5 years single, I was a tantra masseuse, so I massaged 1,000 women intimately. And by the way, this is also super funny if you think about it. Two things. Many women, countless women, told me I'm the best pussy licker they ever had, and they wondered, how do I know how to do this? And I said, I just feel, I just feel what you like want, and I do it. It's like an art, basically, an intuitive, sensitive art, you could say. I don't know, whatever. And and then when I was doing the massages, women were telling me like, you should never stop. You're a godsend for women. I mean, I've heard that also countless of times. People wrote me like handwritten cards and stuff. But then it seems ironic to me, or weird, that first I I'm gonna also share a new story here maybe today. Okay, hold on. So that I've never told before. So um let me just reverse a little bit. But the strange thing is, why did God, the universe, whatever, not give women more intuition? Because if women had more intuition, let's say I go into a bar or a club and women had really the intuition to pick the right guys for awesome intimacy, then they would have all picked me without a question. But they pick the worst guys with whom they have the worst sex, basically. Not all the time, of course, but I'm a master in what I do. That's why I became a tantra masseur and why I had so many clients. But now comes the weird thing. So I did 1,000 massages, never had a problem with any of the women. They were all super, super, super happy. There were maybe one or two that were like, okay, it was an interesting experience. I don't need it a second time. But most of them were like really blown away. And no, I'm not gonna say it today. I'm gonna wait still. Let's just say I had a problem with one woman. She was not a client. She was a model helping me out. And she actually lied to the police about my massage. She was saying I touched her ass and shit like that, which I never did. And it became a lot of trouble. And that was one of the moments, a little bit like, you know, like falsely accused, people, men. That was the moment when I said, okay, I'm just gonna drop this shit because I don't know what's gonna happen. I was kind of lucky in a sense because it could have been worse. But I realized like some of these women are really fucking crazy, and I luckily got out of it, and I decided, okay, let's start with the tantra. And but she wasn't even a client, and it was weird. Anyway, so then I realized I lived in this bubble because I thought, people are super nice and people don't are not mean, especially women are not mean and stuff. And that's when I started to realize this whole Me Too feminism already flipped the script. Suddenly every man was the enemy, basically. And yeah, and that's the moment that I stopped with the massages, and then a few years later I bought the van, and then I went on the van life trip, and I just leave it to the universe what's gonna happen. And uh it's a very weird life. My life is a very weird life, and it's almost like karmic. It's like I'm supposed to have a very different life than most people. Why? I don't know. The good thing is, through spiritual awakening, I don't create a story out of it that really bothers me that much. there is a sense of bothering, but it's not really like a true inner deep bothering. I would say it like this. Um, yeah. So I actually wanted to search m- my lunette, my gafas, my glasses today. Totally forgot about. We'll search them tomorrow. And yeah.